Welcome. Welcome to this course, which will dealing with the module Certification of Organic Reduction and Geographical Indication. The lecture of today is dealing with regulations, standards and regulations. So, the title is Standards and Regulation on Organic Agriculture. Here you have a list of the main issues that we will speak about. General principles of organic farming. I want to add here that I've spoken in another lecture, in another module about general principles of organic farming. But for the students that probably will follow only this module and not the other module, would be better that they have some basic knowledge about principles of organic farming, because above this or on this background, then we will speak further about IFOAM standards about organic production and some important regulation related to organic production. So, general principles of organic farming. Let's start with this. Let's start here reminding and trying to understand something about organic agriculture movement. In nowadays, we find similar terms or different terms that we use that refer to organic farming. For example, we find bio, eco, ecologisch, and for sure organic farming. In fact, these are synonyms, even regulated by EU regulation. From the other side, you see here the term biodynamic. In fact, biodynamic, as I have explained somewhere else, in fact, is included within organic. This means that if a farmer applies biodynamic procedures and activities, can be certified organic. But however, the biodynamic activities are something somehow not so familiar with the big family of organic farming, because they have some specific activities and procedures that they use. In fact, organic agriculture developed and still develops differently in different countries and parts of the world. In fact, different associations and categories of organic merged into organic movement during the late 70s. The diversity of organic farming practices is still reflected then in labels, certification bodies, and associations. Okay, I was not going deeply in the story about organic movement because, as I explained previously, I have explained them in other lectures in other modules. Here is just to remind, to do a very short, fast trip in order for the beginners to understand something more before going to the more complex concepts. In 2009, FAO, IFOAM, and UNCTAD started the Global Organic Market Access Project, which shortly is, as you see written there, GOMA. The aim of it was to facilitate equivalence, harmonization, and other types of cooperation in order to simplify the process for trade flow of products among the various organic guarantee systems. Because, as I said, the organic market and the organic standards rules are developed differently in different countries. There has been growth in the number of certification bodies, especially last years. Most certification bodies are in the European Union, United States, Japan, South Korea, China, Canada, and Brazil. Another characteristic of the last times of organic movement of the organic agriculture sector is a growing number of organic producers which are certified through participatory guarantee systems, or shortly PGS, across the world. PGS are locally focused quality assurance systems. It is an increase of small operators involved in PGS worldwide. The leading countries with regards to PGS are located in the south part of planet. Several organic standards setters have also developed draft standards for climate add-ons for organic certification, and it is expected that the use of carbon labeling by retailers will grow considerably in the future. Speaking still about organic agriculture movement and how the sector is today, the statistics shows, at least the statistics from the previous year, shows that organic farming is practiced in 181 countries. And the number of countries with organic standards and regulation has increased compared with some years ago, and now it is about 100. In 2019, 66 countries have their regulation for organic production. 19 countries the regulations are under development, and in 15 countries the regulations are pending. The data are based on the website of Global Organic Trade Guide, which you have the URL here, and you will have in a repository a list of important links related to this lecture. Regarding IFAM definition for organic agriculture, it is a production system that sustains the health of soils, ecosystems, and people. And in order to realize this, to keep the soils healthy, ecosystems too, it relies on ecological processes, biodiversity, and cycles adapted to local conditions rather than the use of inputs with adverse effects. Organic agriculture combines tradition, innovation, and science to benefit the shared environment and promote fair relationships and a good quality of life for all involved. I mean, for all the involved parties in this. So here there are listed some very important concepts related to organic agriculture. That for sure, in order to be transferred in the practice, they need then a kind of translation of all these principles or all these concepts into practical activities. Relating International Federation of Organic Agriculture movement and its network, I can say that there is an important and impressive international network. IFOAM, International Federation of Organic Agriculture, started in 1972 when the president of the French Farmers Organization conceived of a worldwide appeal to come together to ensure a future for organic agriculture. Then, by the 80s, IFOAM had leaders in the United States, attracted involvement from African agents of organic agriculture, and launched a unique and fruitful relationship with the Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, FAO, producing standards which provided a model for numerous major laws and voluntary standards like Codex Alimentarius, EU regulation, FAO standard on organic agriculture, and so on. Now there are 710 members, 800 affiliates in 117 countries. In fact, to do organic agriculture, first we have to respect some basic principles. So, lastly, there are fixed four important principles in the organic agriculture movement in order to um, to realize to have a how to say a healthy system. So the first principle is the principle of health. The other is the principle of ecology. The third principle is the principle of fairness, and the fourth is the principle of care. Then, in other how to say parts or after this slide, we will speak one by one for each of the principles. So, the principle of health. Let's start with this. Organic agriculture, according to the principle of health, should sustain and enhance the health of soil, plant, animal, human, and planet as one and indivisible. So we have to consider not only one of the systems or not only one of the actors of the system, but all um, all these smaller systems together. This principle points out that the health of individuals and communities cannot be separated from the health of ecosystems. Healthy soils produce healthy crops that foster the health of animals and people. Health is wholeness and integrity of living systems. It is not simply the absence of illness, but the maintenance of physical, mental, social and ecological well-being. Immunity, resilience, and regeneration are key characteristics of health. So the role of organic agriculture, whether in farming, processing, distribution, or consumption, is to sustain and enhance the health of ecosystems and organisms from the smallest in the soil to human beings. In particular, organic agriculture is intended to produce high quality, nutritious food and which contributes to preventive health care and well-being. In view of this, it should avoid the use of fertilizers, pesticides, animal drugs, and food additives that may have adverse health effects. The second principle, the principle of ecology. Organic agriculture should be based on living ecological systems and cycles, work with them, emulate them, and help sustain them. This principle roots organic agriculture within living ecological systems. It states that production is to be based on ecological processes and recycling. Remember, recycling. Nourishment and well-being are achieved through the ecology of the specific production environment. For example, in the case of crops, this is the living soil. For animals, it is the farm ecosystem. For fish and marine organisms, the aquatic environment. Organic farming, pastoral and wild harvest systems should fit the cycles and ecological balances in nature. These cycles are universal, but their operation is site-specific. What we can understand from the last one, I mean that the all the cycles in the earth and in the universe exchange between them, are crossed between them. So, in a certain sense, the cycles are universal, for example, for the Earth, but their operation is site specific. So, we, with our activity, even working in a specific place, our effect will be spread and will be part of the big sum of all the changes that are happen or are happening in the earth. Still with the principle of ecology, organic management must be adapted to local conditions, ecology, culture, and scale. Inputs should be reduced by reuse, recycling, and efficient management of materials and energy in order to maintain and improve environmental quality and conserve resources. Organic agriculture should attain ecological balance through the design of farming systems, establishments of habitats, and maintenance of genetic and agricultural diversity. Those who produce, process, trade, or consume organic products should protect and benefit the common environment, including landscape, climate, habitats, biodiversity, air, and water. I am speaking still here about basic principles of IFOAM. This is the third principle, the principle of fairness. Organic farming or organic agriculture, according to this principle, should build on relationships that ensure fairness with regard to the common environment and life opportunities. Fairness is characterized by equity, respect, justice, stewardship of the shared world, both among people and in their relation to other living beings, so with animals too. This principle emphasizes that those involved in organic agriculture should conduct human relationships in a manner that ensures fairness at all levels and to all parties, which are farmers, can be workers, processors, distributors, traders, and consumers for sure. That is the last, let's say, chain, the last part of this chain. Organic agriculture should provide everyone involved with a good quality of life and contribute to food sovereignty and reduction of poverty. It aims to produce a sufficient supply of good quality food and other products. According to the principle of fairness, the principle insists that animals should be provided with the conditions and opportunities of life that accord with their physiology, natural behavior, and well being. Natural and environmental resources that are used for production and consumption should be managed in a way that is socially and ecologically just and should be held in trust for future generations. Fairness requires systems of production, distribution, and trade that are open and equitable and account for real environmental and social costs. And the last principle, the fourth one, is the principle of care. Organic agriculture should be managed in a precautionary and responsible manner to protect the health and well-being of current and future generations and the environment. Organic agriculture is a living, it has to be considered a living and dynamic system that responds to different stimuli, to internal and external demands and conditions. Practitioners of organic agriculture can enhance efficiency and increase productivity, but this should not be at the risk of health and well-being. Always with the principle of care, the new technologies need to be assessed and existing methods has to be reviewed too. Given the incomplete understanding of ecosystems and agriculture, care has to be taken. This principle states that precaution and responsibility are the key concerns in management, development, and technology choices in organic agriculture. Science is necessary to ensure the organic agriculture is healthy, safe, and ecologically sound. However, scientific knowledge alone is not sufficient. Practical experience, accumulated wisdom, and traditional and indigenous knowledge offer a valid solution. Many valid solutions, which are tested by time, are not tested in a real experiment, but the time has been the best way how the farmers have tested the, their knowledge and the technologies. Organic agriculture should prevent significant risks by adopting appropriate technologies and rejecting unpredictable ones, such as genetic engineering. Decisions should reflect the values and needs of all who might be affected through transparent and participatory processes. This is important here to stress or to focus, for example, to participatory processes, because this is the basic of not only democracy in per se, but because through this we can bring together all the experiences, all knowledge to the local, to the environment, to all resources and development resources. All this information that I was speaking about now, about basic principles of organic farming, you can find in the website of International Federation of Organic Agriculture Movement.